Hi everybody, this is Debra and I'm here with Kareem, and this is another episode of Luminescence. So Kareem Manuel, he is an amazing member of the community here in Atlanta, CEO of We.Society, father, love, revolutionary.
Absolutely.
And I think that we first met at Village Market, actually. I
Yep.
remember meeting you there, and you
Mhm.
had a booth with like really cool shoes and apparel with your We Society brand.
Yep.
And I just remember like feeling a resonance with you and like feeling like the power and the energy of what you were creating.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that time, and then we've danced since then. And
We did. We danced, and then we've had like a little internet connection through the pandemic with like us both being into wild edibles at this time. And
which we're surrounded by.
I know, so this is your backyard.
Yeah, this is the garden. This is one of them in Atlanta, and this is where I spend a lot of time, just connecting and communing with nature, growing healthy food for myself and to feed, people close to me and literally like my neighbors and things. So it's beautiful.
Wow.
I love it back here.
That's amazing.
I love it back here. Yeah.
Do you want to share more? I mean, I don't know. Part of it is like I'm catching up with you too, but I've seen like you post videos and photos of like lots of members of the community gardening and farming together. I know that's been a big part of what you've been doing during this time.
Well, the We Society, our motto, our kind of ethos is we are the ones we've been waiting for. And as life continues to flow, whatever changes, however things are going to grow, are going to be because we were actively and consciously engaged in developing the world we choose to live in, as opposed to reacting and accepting, the negative attributes that I would say are open. And so I was really sick before. I was 250 pounds. I was on 7 medications daily.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol,
Oh my goodness.
hypertension, sleep apnea, chronic fatigue, chronic bronchitis, acid reflux, and they would just give me pills and surgeries and
Oh, wow.
nothing was working. I wasn't even 30 years old yet, and I'm looking at my family and they're just saying, well, you're black, you're more predisposed, you're American, and Americans struggle with X, Y, and Z. And I was just like, this is my habitat. I live here. The planet should not be killing me, right? Like, I should not be allergic to the earth. And so I just went on a study or a search mission and discovered plant-based living. And 5 days into trying, I just was healed. I remember taking a deep breath for the first time in years, just going like, oh, I can breathe. I was in the kitchen making something and I just took a deep breath and I was like, oh, this is for me. And so all of that to say now, with the lifestyle that I'm promoting, it isn't about being plant-based, although I'm always inviting people to that. It's more about taking our lives into our own hands and saying the earth is abundant and the earth that wants to live, we want to live, and we can live in harmony with the earth and not in so much pain and resistance and violence against the earth and ourselves. And so having people gather and learn how to grow food from the food they're consuming is just one of the steps in trying to teach like self-love and communal love. And so that's why we're here.
Beautiful. So do you want to share more about We Society then and how that got started and what you all do?
So Donald Trump came down the escalator and announced he was running for president. And I knew he would win right away. And everybody was saying I was crazy and there's no way he can win. And I just know the history of this country. I know the history of people who look like me across the world, at least recent history. And when I say recent, like the last 1,000 years. Which is a lot to think about, like for half a millennium, a country like abusing people, right? And I just thought, like, what can I do? And I was a part of a movement and an organization of people who would support him and justify it because it was like business or whatever,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so that was part of my awakening.
Mm-hmm.
I had all these moments, these shocks to my system: the Trayvon Martins, the Alton Sterlings, the Mike Browns, Sandra Bland, Sean Bell, and on and on and on.
Yes.
And now I'm Ahmad and George Lloyd, and just it goes on. But I was still like trying to stay in bed and be comfortable, and I just couldn't anymore. Like my ancestors, the Great Spirit, life, my own love for myself, like my person, was like I can't ignore or deny the truth I feel. And I said, how can I bring resistance from love? I just knew love was the answer, but it wasn't acceptance, if that makes any sense. Like if I really love you, if you really love me, you call me to higher.
Right. Right. It's like a fierce love.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the fire that burns in me is like a purification fire. So fire can destroy or it can warm the soul.
Like visionary love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holding the vision, the highest vision.
And so we is just about that. We is about, you read it, it says it's we, period. Because all of humanity lives here. This is our planet. These are our lives. These are our times. And as every culture lives out its expression of itself in its purest, most free way, I think that's when we can come together and create like a beautiful tapestry that the great intelligence has for us. And that's what I started the company because I just kept saying it's we. It got to be we or it's nothing else. It can't just be me versus you or us versus them, because then my grandchildren and their grandchildren will just be in the same place. They'll be having the exact same conversations that you and I are having 200 years from now, because we're so angry at each other. Nobody even remembers why, which we see in the Middle East and other places where it's just like the bloodshed has been so long and nobody even remembers why we're actually, it's just, I don't mess with you anymore. And it's like, man, this planet can sustain us all comfortably, easily. So
right.
We make lifestyle apparel to remind people to just care about each other and care about and love ourselves as purely as possible.
Yeah, I love the apparel too. Thank you for speaking on all of that. I think it's actually really interesting to me that we had set today to meet, and then another act of this racist murder violence happened just last couple days. And I'm like, I got the idea to do Luminescence this series to interview black healers, like right around the Donald Trump era also.
Yeah.
Just feeling called to step up and do something
we
more.
had to, because previously, things were, I don't really like the word hidden, but hidden is the best word I can find it right now. It was just more subversive and covert. And then after the Obama era, I feel like the response was so egregious and loud because they didn't have time to try to figure out how to be covert. It was like, we need to take control. Population control is a very historic pattern of rulers saying, like, this group of people is growing too much. We need to do things to suppress them and squash that to maintain control and power. And so I think around that time, people who are born for this time to help connect to people and touch people and like unlock their souls just said, like, the hell with this. Like, I have to be about what I'm here to do, which is to help bring healing and a raising of the consciousness for humanity. And so here we all are, like, doing our work in love and seeing the changes. It's been beautiful to like witness the changes that are happening in people every day. So I said from day one, I knew it would be tough, but I'm very grateful for this time. I'm grateful for what it's doing to people, how it's making people think and challenge their paradigms and their perspectives. I'm grateful that things are out in the open because you can't heal what you don't reveal. And so as long as racism gets to stay hidden, as long as sexism gets to stay hidden, as long as patriarchy gets to stay hidden, as long as, classism, economic suppression and oppression, like, as long as those things stay hidden, we can just keep moving along. But as soon as it comes to the forefront, now we have a choice to make. Now we have to decide how we're going to engage. And I'm very grateful for that. Very
That's
grateful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading somebody's post about again with the violence, like this shit's always been happening. Now somebody has a video
now
camera.
we're all able to film it. Everybody
Yeah.
has a camera in their pocket, and a lot of times it still doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's scary. Or was, right? We'll see the video and you'll say that happened, and then the authorities will just say no, it didn't. And and so even with the pandemic happening, quote unquote, I just feel like it's a time for us to really say, this is the world we want to live in. Money doesn't work the same way that it did, right? A lot of people at home. This capitalistic system is on life support. The things that people thought were important to accumulate in the mass seems very low on people's list at the moment. And so I think this is a perfect opportunity to say, since we're resetting, what world do we want to live in? What do we accept? How will we hold ourselves accountable? So yeah.
So much good stuff. One of the other things I was drawn to in you is that you are also involved with this organization called Sacred Sons, which was kind of synchronistic for me because I used to live in LA.
Okay.
And I know a couple of those people, and I know you're the Atlanta ambassador for that.
Correct.
And it's all about men's work, men's groups.
Yeah, healthy, full embodiment of masculinity, right? So there's a term going around, toxic masculinity, which I would say I understand the reason for it, but that's not masculinity, right? Like it's just not. So Sacred Sons is one of the places I found and discovered where I can completely be the full-blooded man that I am and be challenged in love to sharpen and develop and grow deeper into the embodiment of masculinity that I possess. And it's open to anyone who identifies as a man or masculine, which has been beautiful to witness, especially coming as a person of color, knowing what it feels like just to be marginalized or worried that you'll be marginalized. Like, it's just been a very open, beautiful space, and some of the most powerful moments of healing have come with those brothers. Like, I remember one time we were doing some shadow work, and this is my first time doing it in an intentional way, in this way, and I'm surrounded by my brothers, and I'm like weeping in the middle of this circle, and their hands are on me, and they're like taking a deep breath with me, and then crying out with me as I'm like screaming, and I can hear my voice echoing off the mountains that we're in. And I ended up saying something like, people don't know, people want to help me and hold me up, but they don't know how. So I'm always tired, right? And so then they literally like lifted me up and held me and just let me just rest in their arms. And I just remember the tears just running down my face. It was absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So I love Sacred Sons, and we meet every other Wednesday here in Atlanta.
The Atlanta group. That's so cool. So beautiful. I don't want to like put you on the spot, but I guess what's coming to me is like talking a little bit about race and like the divide and coming together, because I know from what I've seen, like what excites me about your involvement in Sacred Sons is like that the Atlanta community, I would imagine a lot of the men are gathering are mostly black men.
Absolutely.
I feel like it brings just this really important element to the organization, which is already diverse, but like in this time, I've noticed, especially with all of the just like the complete injustices that are happening to the black community, and white people feeling like they're being blamed, or, you know, just all this stuff is like, how do we come together? Like, how do we, I could probably answer the question too.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm thinking a lot about that kind of stuff. Like, how can we honor and respect each other, work together, not hate each other? It's maybe it's a rhetorical question that I'm just asking, and we'll leave it at that.
No, I have a few thoughts. I don't have answers.
Right.
I know it's possible, but how? I don't think any type of unity is possible if the truth isn't leading.
Yeah.
right? So when I was waking up, I could not understand before then that I had privilege as a male in this society. Even as a black male, I couldn't see how I was privileged.
Right.
And so when women would try to say at the job, well, you're treated differently, or you're going to get paid more for doing the same type of work, and people don't assume you don't know what you're doing. They assume leadership for you, but then I started to pay attention to, I have two boys. If my son is telling people what to do, people call him a leader. If the girl in his class is doing the same thing, they say she's being bossy or bratty, right? And so my nieces, and realizing like that's gonna happen to them their entire life, and saying, oh, I am privileged. And if I don't live with that understanding, whether I decided to be privileged or not, I have it. It changed the way I interact with the feminine, and my advocacy, my being an ally, my engagement with them changed. And I just think culturally, if we're not open to hearing and learning from other cultures, I don't spend a second of my day convincing any culture that I'm human, that these things are a problem. I just live with the truth that I know and live out the truth. I'm not begging. But in terms of coming together, if I am loving myself truly, then I have room and space to love you truly. And that comes with you being able to share the truth and me being able to acknowledge it and repent. And to live in a way that repents of that. I don't have to feel guilty or shame, especially for things I didn't know. I don't like shame. I don't think it's healthy. But to say I was wrong, I was living out of balance and out of harmony with the world, with even myself. Before I had to apologize and then learn new steps and techniques and ways to harmonize with myself more. And I think as we do that as people, we'll see true coming together. But until then, it'll just be, eggshells and finger pointing, and that doesn't serve anyone.
Right.
So.
Right. Owning the truth of the history, owning the truth of who we are.
Yeah, you have to. We have to, or we're lost.
Thank you for sharing on that.
No problem.
And do you want to tell us a little bit about what you're growing back here? Because I think this is so freaking amazing. This place, you can't see it all. Well, you can see a little bit, but it's like a magical little fairy realm back here. It's so
It is
cool.
nice. I appreciate it. Let's see. We're growing cucumbers and corn, purple corn in honor of the indigenous of this land, and then yellow corn as well. And we have some quartz crystals in the bed, which are really helping a lot. Over here we have tomatoes and beets. They grow well together. And we also have we have different types of tomatoes and beets over here. But then in the second half of the bed, we have all types of hot peppers and sweet peppers, habanero, jalapeno, red and green sweet peppers. In the back we have watermelon, seeded watermelon. And then next to it, we're gonna build a bed and put golden watermelon and make like an archway. So the watermelon kind of grows up the tree.
Whoa.
And then sweet potatoes, purple and yellow and sweet onions.
This is so cool.
Basil. Over there we have kale, mustard green, collard, mint, oregano, thyme, cilantro, butternut squash, papaya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Just in that bag alone, we'll grow like, I don't know, 30 pounds of sweet potatoes.
Right.
And then, I'll sell some, but I'll give a lot away because then I'll grow from those. I'll just regrow.
It's very inspiring, and I'm sure like a lot of people watching know. Well, we're in the West End right now, and like food security and food justice is such an issue.
Yeah, and so that's my point.
Right.
It's like if I trust the system, the West End has historically been and systematically oppressed and cut out. And a lot of communities where black and brown people live and dwell. For a lot of reasons we don't have time to get into, but that's a fact, like scientifically. So what do we do? Do I keep knocking on the door and saying, please, 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 put healthy food here and do this and do that? Or do I just say, fuck it, I'll grow it?
Yeah.
Right? I'll take care of my neighbor. I'll love my neighbor as if they were myself. I don't have time to wait for you to, it's like if we sat down in Monopoly and they were like, okay, black people, you don't get to collect $200 when you pass go. You're gonna go to jail disproportionately more than we are. You can't own any property. Like at the inception of the game, they're like making these rules, and then I accept those rules, and you accept them, and you train your kids what the rules are. That you guys own the property, you get the money when you pass go. You have right, and that we just work for you for free as slaves, right? And then your kids are raising that, my kids are raising that, then their kids are raising that, and then eventually my grandkids go, this isn't fair. And your grandkids go like, yeah, I don't really think this is too fair. So then we sit down at the table and you go, you know what? You're right. All right, black people, you won't be slaves anymore. You can buy some property if you want to. But then we say, but y'all brought it all already. And it's like, hey, well, those are the rules. You wanted to be fair. Then 2 more generations, 3 more generations go, and they go, yo, this isn't fair. And I go, you know what? You're right. We'll let you guys collect $50 when you pass go. At some point, we just have to get up from the table and say, I'm not playing this game anymore.
Right.
I'm not playing the capitalism game. I'm playing the politics game. This is my home. This is my land. I'm going to grow this food. I'm going to give it to people who need it. And that's it. And if you have land, please do the same. And we'll work together, and we'll never be hungry because the earth is so abundant. And it's free. Like, even the idea of owning dirt. Like, this is, I was born here, you were born here. Somehow I'm walking around the earth, and I get to a certain spot, and I go, you know what? This is mine.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense.
I talk to the natives, and they're like, we never even had prisons here.
No.
Can you imagine a land with no prisons? Not even the need for a prison. There's a village I went to in Africa. When someone does something wrong, the community comes out and just says all the things that this person has done right before. All the amazing things that this person has done. And you just see like just the brokenness in that person. Because they love this person and restore them back to the community. We still got kids and families in cages from people seeking asylum. And we can't even deal with that, right? Like, it's just, we're in a time where people are living out true evil and disconnection to themselves. And the earth is letting us know that and how it responded. The earth is crying out. And we are the ones to answer the call, and we are. And so, like, even the bird, I just love how much nature is alive right now. Nature's not afraid of this time. Nature's not panicking. In fact, they're so happy and ecstatic. And so am I, because I'm living in harmony. And so, gardening is my meditation. So just be reminded that if things get put in darkness and the pressure is allowed to actually build, it could open up the shell of potential that life is housed in, and life springs up and can share that life with other living beings. And I feel like that's where we are, like energetically, spiritually, we are the seed, planted in the void that life is springing and bursting forth from. And I can see it all around me every day, and it just gives me so much energy to keep going. Yeah.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. There's like so much I want to respond to. I know we don't have like a ton of time, but like I feel you on everything that you said. That's why reparations is such an important issue. But again, it's really interesting for me to hear like we just can't wait anymore. Like,
yeah. If people want to fight for reparations, that's great.
Yeah.
I believe in reparations, right? And other places have done that. And we've apologized to the Japanese, we've apologized to the Jews, we've apologized to a lot of people and given money. I mean, we still fund Israel. But I don't think a system that was built on me being property is ever going to come to a place where they can say, we're sorry, and here's the money or all this. It's just not going to happen. But I'm here now, and I don't need it. I would love it, but I'm well fed. I am cared for. I have more than I need, and will always have more than I need.
Yeah.
In love, in life, in joy, in happiness. If that's where my awareness can focus, And so I don't want to give a pass. I'm a revolutionary and will continue to fight for the cause of justice and fairness. But
Yeah.
my energy is better served building what I think needs to exist than fighting to change what does. It's like I'll just go build it. That's it. That's
You're
it.
so inspiring. I really see you as a major leader in the community in Atlanta with all the different things that you do, from the gardening to We.Society to the men's work and all the other things that I have yet to learn about you.
I hope.
So do you want to tell people where they can find you, how they can support We.Society, get some really dope,
Gear.
gear?
No, thank you. You can go to We.Society.co on both Instagram and on the web, WeSociety.co. I am we.Kareem on Instagram. A portion of our sales go to organizations we think are doing amazing work in Atlanta and around the world. And I'm going to start doing a better job of listing what those things are. But yeah, I started the business because I wanted to do what I wanted to do with the money that we made. I wanted to be able to build a garden and feed people without charging them if I wanted to. I think it's important that we exercise our autonomy and independence. So find me online if you want. Feel free to come out to one of our sacred circles. We meet online for the time being, but I think next month we'll start gathering again as things open up, with social distancing in mind. And yeah, that's it. Much love to whoever watched this. I hope it inspired you to just make a small step today to care for yourself and care for the world in a real way.
Thank you so much. It's such
Thank
an
you.
honor.
Yeah.
Such an honor, Kareem.
I appreciate it.